Good morning. I'm Teacher Rose, and welcome to the introduction to philosophy of the human person. The hand is one of the most symbolized part of the human body. It is often used to depict skill, action, and purpose. Through our hands, we may learn, create, and accomplish. Hence, the hand in this learning resource signifies that you as a learner is capable and empowered to successfully achieve the relevant competencies and skills at your own pace and time. Your academic success lies in your own hands. For today's presentation, we're going to tackle human person and society. And it includes the following lesson. Lesson number 1, society. What drives human to establish it? Lesson number 2, different forms of society. And lesson number 3, interrelationship between human person and society. You have learned in the previous presentation about the nature of man. You have also encountered the lesson about intersubjectivity and how it defines our interactions with other persons. Now, let's explore how it is connected with the idea of establishing society. What comes to your mind when you read or hear the statement, "No man is an island"? As you have learned in the previous presentations, humans have the natural tendency to establish relationship with other people. The ability of a person to engage in meaningful interactions with other people, or even with his or her surroundings and the objects around him or her, is deeply rooted by one's awareness of himself or herself and of others. This shared awareness and understanding among persons is referred to as intersubjectivity. Through intersubjectivity, the relationship between the self and the other enables the person to relate, establish, and to maintain meaningful relationship with others. Meaningful and beneficial human relationships are founded on the values of acceptance, openness, and respect beyond diversity. From your answers on the Bobby statement, you think and reflect with your place within the social group being mentioned. In this way, you attentively recognize that you are a part of a social group. Thus, you are a part of our society. Society is an organized group of people with a common territory and culture whose members interact frequently. Furthermore, society is a large group of people who live together in an organized way, making decisions about how to do things and sharing the work that needs to be done. But then you might pop up the question that other animals also form groups for survival and mutual protection. Are these form of group considered as society? Society being formed by human individual is considered unique among all other groups because the relationship being established and the interaction towards common good or goal is a way more difficult and uniquely profound. Culture indicates the flow of relationship between society and human individuals. It is one of the human natures to desire and to act according to the same goal, which is commonly the goal of survival. When one person meets another person with the same goal, then it can be considered that they desire for the common good. Common good may include peace within the community, clean and safe environment, efficient public service, etc. With this common good, humans are required to work together and to establish relationship with each other, which results in establishing forms of society. Family is the basic unit of society. Through this, infants first relate with their parents or guardians as the source of basic needs for survival. As they grow, they expand their connections and start relating and forming bonds with people outside their family. Friendships are established starting from childhood up to adulthood. They also learn how to deal and to interact with other superiors aside from their parents or guardians. You have understood in the previous presentation on what drives humans to establish society and how human upbringing is transformed by society being depicted through its culture. Also, in relation to past presentations, you have already recognized that you are a part of a social group. Thus, you are a part of our existing society. In continuation of my presentation, I'm going to tackle the different forms of society. Number 1 is hunting and gathering society. It is the earliest and simplest form of society and is generally recognized by its small size, since it consists mainly of families. They spend most of their time searching for food, thus they are considered as nomadic, no permanent territory. Its members are treated equally and decisions are usually derived through consensus. As a result, the role of its members and the distribution of labor is not clearly defined. Number 2 is pastoral society. It is characterized by the domestication of animals, serves as a source for food supply. Compared to hunting and gathering society, this form of society has a larger population and remains in one place. They also produce surplus food and resources, which they trade with other societies, forming meaningful bonds. This relative prosperity enables the people to engage in other activities apart from those necessary for survival, such as handicrafts, which eventually leads to the emergence of specialized tasks in the community. Number 3 is horticultural society. It engages in the small-scale cultivation of plants, fruits and vegetables, and the domestication of animals. Semi-nomadic, which means that they travel to another place when there is shortage of the resources in one area. Number 4 is agrarian agricultural society. It involves in a large-scale and long-term cultivation of crops and domestication of animals, characterized by improved technology and usage of tools to aid in farming, which results in increased production, giving rise to a growing population in agricultural societies. Large population leads to a more structured social system that helps manage resources and its members. Number 5 is feudal society. It is based on the ownership of land. Its members are organized based on status, which consists of higher class or ruler, which people who own a land, vassal, follower, or granted a right to manage a land, and peasants or workers who cultivate the land and tend the animals in exchange of military protection. This society is mindful of the hierarchy system. It arose during medieval times in western part of Europe. Number 6 is industrial society. It is based on the use of specialized machinery in the production of goods and services. The emergence of new production and industrial methods along with innovations in transportation and communications are result from the advances of science and technology in the late 18th century. In this era, improved trade and commerce, public education, and better life conditions are evident for many people. However, an important factor in social relations with this form of society is the workplace where people interact with individuals who do not come from the same family, clan, or community. Thus, cultural diversity and bureaucratic forms of organizations arises. Number 7 is post-industrial society. It is emerged by the establishment of societies based on knowledge, information, and the sale of services. Virtual society arises where people organize themselves through communication technology and internet. This society is composed of members with higher educational attainment, better training, and specialized roles. With all this growth and development of various forms of societies, the human interactions are also growing more complex over the span of time. Factors like science and technology advancement and cultural changes brought improvement to the society along with complexity and various ethnicities. But despite these innovations and developments, the human person still remains the heart of the society and drives social changes based on respective responses and needs for the betterment. In the third presentation or lesson, the interrelationship between human person and society, you have understood in the previous presentation about what drives human to establish society and the different forms of societies being established as time flies. You have also learned that with all those growth and development of various forms of societies, the human interactions are also growing more complex over the span of time. But despite those progress, the human person still remains the heart of the society and drives social changes based on respective responses and needs for the betterment. Now, let's continue to embark on our journey with how human relations are transformed by social systems. It can be said that you cannot think of a person outside of society, and you cannot think of a society without a group of persons. Thus, human persons and society are interrelated to each other in which one cannot exist without the other. Moreover, society's role is considered important in the growth and development of a person, as well as the person's role in transforming society. One important way wherein society influences us as person is its ability to define the relationship and interactions among its members. There are various ways that society influences our development and interactions. But one way is through the establishment of the following. First is norms. Norms is a set of traits and behavior that society considers acceptable, thus to be encouraged of us and to other members. Like for example, pagmamano. Pagmamano is Filipinos' unique gesture to greet and show respect to elders. Next is laws. More formal and stringent norms that establish and define acceptable behavior of citizens. For example, using of pedestrian lanes when crossing streets. Folkways. Less formal norms that arise from tradition and do not result in punishment when violated. Example is the concept of appropriate swimwear. Others might wear t-shirt and short. Others might wear bikini. Next is social system, an organized pattern or pattern set of relationships among individuals and groups that compose a society. Social role. Actions and behaviors expected of a certain individual. Next is social groups or social classes. Individuals who share similar backgrounds or perform similar roles. Next is social institutions. It is certain groups that perform vital functions in society, which include the family, school, government, and religion. Last but not the least is social values. It is actions or ideals that are considered vital in maintaining an orderly society. Examples are cooperation, obedience to the law, concern for others, and respect for diversity. Over the course of an entire life, a person will undergo various social roles as he or she continually interacts with other persons within a society and gradually expand his or her social circles. Again, I'm Teacher Rose, saying share love to everybody, be a blessing to everyone. Thank you.